Thank you, Ceann Comhairle.
Deputy Joan Burton, without interruption.
I want to ask the Taoiseach if he's shocked that as he leaves office, inflation is at 5%, consumer inflation is at 5%, bearing in mind that when he came into office as Taoiseach in 1997, he inherited an inflation rate from the outgoing government of 1.5%. And I want to ask the Taoiseach, does he agree that this rate of inflation is both dangerous, damaging and disappointing for our economy and for our country, particularly at a time when economic growth is faltering over a range of areas? The government made a lot of fuss over the last couple of years about the abolition of the groceries order. In fact, the only prices that seem to have fallen since the groceries order was abolished is the price of drink, with all sorts of negative consequences for our society. Taoiseach, I'm sure you're aware, because in your time you've visited enough supermarkets, if not to shop, at least to canvass. I'm sure you're aware that the vast majority of people who shop for families and do the supermarket trolley are women. And women are really getting angry at the exploitation of consumers and at the fact that this government is sitting on its hands and doing nothing to protect ordinary families against the kind of price increases that are currently being experienced. I want to ask the Taoiseach, is he aware of the rip-off, the profiteering and the exploitation of Irish consumers, in particular by British-based multiples, when they come to convert sterling to euros? That frequently the markups from sterling to euro can go as high as 50 or 60%. There have been a number of surveys done in recent times, Taoiseach. One recently in the Irish Daily Mail. Gillette's razor blades, Mac Turbo razor blades, $11.99. You might use them yourself. $11.99, Taoiseach, $11.99 sterling. That should be €15.17, 17 euros. The actual charge in boots is €19.49. That's a markup of almost 30% over and beyond what the sterling differential to euros ought to be. If you go and buy more expensive things like furniture, the markup on an item of furniture like a wardrobe that might cost $1,500 in sterling, it's going to end up costing you up to $2,500 just 90 miles down the road from Belfast. The markups are astonishing. Now, you've a series of quangos established by your government. The Competition Authority, the Competition Authority. Well, the Minister...
It's where you're keeping all the electronic voting machines, Minister, isn't it?
Exactly. The Minister ought to visit stores and have a look at what furniture is now costing in Irish stores. The Competition Authority, the National Consumer Agency, can I ask the Taoiseach, have you any proposals to get them to do anything about this absolutely blatant exploitation of Irish shoppers and consumers? And bear in mind that this is at a time when some people in IBEC and in the Construction Industry Federation are suggesting that workers should take cuts in pay, particularly workers in the construction industry. Taoiseach, can you tell me, does your government propose to do anything about this scandal? When you entered government in 1997, the inflation rate bequeathed to you was 1.5%. It's now 5%. Irish exporters and manufacturers who sell goods to the UK face ferocious competition at the moment because of the value of sterling versus the euro. But when British multiples and companies sell into the Irish high street, they blatantly rip off and exploit Irish consumers by astonishing markups. And in fact, I invite you, Taoiseach, when you have spare time in the next few weeks, take a stroll through Dunnes Stores, take a stroll through Marks and Spencer's, shops that are operating on both sides of the border, and you will see items that are marked at $3.50 in sterling. That's actually translated up to €6 when it's translated into euros. Now, Taoiseach, the Competition Authority, there's an awful lot of public resources going on the Competition Authority. What's in competition that allows shops to rip off people? The National Consumer Agency, a lot of fine people on that body. What are they doing to try and ensure that at least when a consumer goes into a shop, the translation of the price is reasonable? It is a blatant rip-off. And I would say, Taoiseach, you know, at a time when interest rates have not increased by the ECB, so the ECB at the moment is not driving our inflation rate up. We have actually a falling construction market and an easing of prices in relation to housing. So in fact what you're saying in terms of your analysis, Taoiseach, is wrong. We are actually importing a significant amount of inflation through UK multiples and Irish multiples who buy from the UK, making massive profits by marking up from sterling to the euro. Now I'm asking you, Taoiseach, is that fair? Is that fair on the ordinary consumer? You go into a supermarket and what does €50 buy you anymore? Or if you're buying for a family, what does €250 buy you? It's leaving the trolleys half empty, Taoiseach. What does your government propose to do?